Hi, and welcome to this week's slightly delayed, and apologies that we weren't on last week, Three Legs, Four Wheels F1 podcast. It's a cut-down team tonight of Paul,
Sean,
and Lee.
Get well soon, Chris. I know you're a bit worn out, so take it easy, mate, from all of us. It was probably watching an exciting French Grand Prix that knocked him out.
No one was prepared.
That was good. Hell froze over.
Yeah, I mean, it was predicted on this show by one of us.
Hang on a second, the modesty detector's just going off, and we don't need to reset it.
I'm just pointing out the fact that for all the mockery, I do tend to be right an awful fucking lot these days.
That's because you predict everything.
I think you do cast a wide net with your predictions.
Yeah.
You have 24 different stopped clocks just in case.
Yeah, I like that. It's ever since I got into that whole mass betting thing. It's fine.
bet on everybody apart from the inobvious candidates.
Yeah, apart from Stroll.
But no, we had a pretty exciting race. It was not what you'd expect. There was passing all the way up.
Yeah, race at the front, race in the middle.
Haas at
Some
the back.
passes at the back, yeah.
I was praying that Verstappen was going to go into the back of Hamilton when he was chasing him down, because I put one bet on this week, and I put my usual like £10 that I allow myself to bet on Formula One.
All on Russell.
The whole £10 on Lando Norris on the podium and Daniel Ricciardo top 6 at 66 to 1.
That would have been decent.
Yeah, so I was praying something terrible was going to happen, but it didn't.
You could have got yourself a new sim racing wheel as well.
I could have got myself a new sim racing wheel. Damn it.
Not an advert, but by God, that Fanatec McLaren wheel is good.
It looks lovely. Like I want one.
Yeah, I'm going to use the photo of that as our cover picture this week. Mainly because it says McLaren on it.
Yeah. What you want to do now is whatever the housing for it, you can get decaled housings for it, so you can get like a McLaren branded Fanatec, like whatever you call it, drive wheel belt, whatever it is.
Oh,
the
hub. The hub.
Yeah, so you can sticker that all up like a McLaren.
Oh, the temptation! The temptation! If anyone's good at making stickers, drop us.
No.
I think these exist. I think.
Yeah, you can do it. You can buy them. They're only like £20 a kit.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah. Just get on it. Get it done.
All right, that will be happening soon. I mean, all right, my sim racing, I'm still terrible, but now I can definitely say I've got all the gear and no idea.
Yeah, that's it. You just need to look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, and half the battle is won. Talking of which, 19th and 20th, Schumacher and Mazepin.
Yes,
wow.
They took part.
They were swapping places quite a bit. I think it was some kind of weird pit strategy that they'd put them on so that they didn't spend too much time on track close together, because they seem to like getting their elbows out. I think Mazepin's warned Schumacher again that he's going to get elbowsy if they come close together in Austria.
I think he said that they've ended their gentleman's agreement.
That relies on challenging him to a duel.
I don't know. I think that might be the next step.
when he said that, did it cut to a picture of him slapping Schumacher across the face with a glove?
Possibly, very possibly. But yeah, I think a duel could be the logical progression from here.
I mean, this is two bald men fighting over a tub of hair gel.
Well, what is it? What is it with Mercedes? Not Mercedes. What is it with Haas drivers fucking hating each other?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, like Grosjean literally had to set himself on fire for Magnussen to make up with him.
They didn't kill each other at Road America at the weekend.
No, Grosjean and Ericsson had a good ding dong though.
Yeah, we were waiting for Ericsson to take Grosjean out towards the end.
Well, there was an interview with Kevin Magnussen after Roman's accident, and you know how he's got that kind of he's pretty straight with things, isn't he, Kevin Magnussen?
He is
And
very
turned around and
dry.
said- yeah, he said, I didn't realise I liked him until he nearly died.
Given the pasting that we've given Grosjean on this show over the last 6 years, I think we could probably say the same.
I think, yeah, I agree 100%.
God, I'm choking here. Were there any redeeming features about Haas this weekend?
I do not recall any.
No, I don't think so. It was so weird. Like I think the first maybe half the field is hard to recall because there was so much going on in the other half.
I mean, we're big on the participation awards this week.
I think the only thing I can particularly remember with Haas is that Schumacher got out of Q1 and then promptly drove into a wall.
Schumacher's crash was the reason that he got out of Q1
This is
because he
true.
did stop everybody else's laps. Now, IndyCar have this rule where if you crash during a qualifying session, your fastest time is disallowed.
Yeah, I like that. And wasn't the talk about this as well? Wasn't the talk about them maybe employing this rule?
I think they need to.
I think the best thing to do, because I was talking about this. I'm glad this is brought up because it's reminded me. I was talking about this to my dad, and I think if you have a crash in the last 5 minutes of qualifying, that's red flags the session. I think the session should be red flagged, and then whatever the outlap and fastest and like flying lap times are, equal it out a bit. Like, just round it up. That time should be added on. So like quali should go into extra time.
Yeah, because I mean, with what happened with Schumacher in Q1, I think there was about 11 seconds left when he crashed, and there was half a dozen drivers on flying laps.
I think Stroll
So
Stroll was the big loser, wasn't he? He was the one he hadn't quite got the flying lap in, was on it, and then didn't get to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he waited as well. Wasn't that his only go too?
Yeah, I think he'd had some kind of debacle on his first one, so I thought, okay, come back in, new tyres, go again.
Yeah, I think did he ran wide on one corner?
Might have done. Yeah, I can't quite remember, but yeah, he should have quite easily got out of Q1, but didn't get the chance.
This is the one advantage that the old way of qualifying had, and I'm talking about the old one where it was you've got 12 on track laps within the space of an hour, and that's what sets your time. At least you're going to be able to get out on track.
I still stand by that was my favourite type of qualifying. I know we'd have it for a while, where you'd have like half an hour with no cars on track and they just have to fill. But realistically, Q1, unless something crazy happens with somebody crashing, which obviously can happen, and that's quite exciting. But Q1 is kind of just you just watch through it, don't you? It's the guys that you're actually interested in watching are going to be where they are, and the interest is to see whether George Russell can get into Q2.
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, both Hasses are going to be out, and Hungary are beating Germany, which
will not be relevant by the time you publish this podcast.
Oh, it might be actually. It's going out tonight.
Fair enough.
We're already a day late.
Yeah. So if you were wanting to watch that football match when you got in, Sozza.
It's all right. It's only 20 minutes in. We'll give all the spoilers for the next 70 minutes plus injury time.
Fuck spoilers. Anyway, I believe that if you care enough, you will have watched it.
Correct. I am
true.
Firmly of this opinion.
That is true. I actually, the Facebook on this day thing.
Yeah.
From 7 years ago, last round of group games in a tournament, the only time when having picture-in-picture on your TV is worth having.
Why would that have been 7 years ago?
Because it would have...
Would that have been 20...
That's how fucking time works.
That would have been the 2014...
No, I'm trying to... I mean, like, which tournament was it?
That would have been the 2014 World Cup.
Yes.
Oh.
No, it's through me talking about a tournament 7 years ago. Anyway, we're digressing completely. Yeah, I mean, it was because of tracks like... it was mainly Hungary that was the Nice segue. It was mainly Hungary that was the problem because, we didn't see anything on any cars on track until half an hour into the session because the lap's that short and there's
same with Monaco.
Yeah, not a great deal you can do with the setup. At least with Monaco, they can do all these tracking shots of all the yachts. And, Hungary, you've got...
No yachts.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff.
Yeah. Fields.
Oh, mind you, there's some nice architecture in Budapest.
Yeah,
but if they can go out of the circuit, like the helicopter, there's some nice stuff.
Yeah, that'd do it. But with that way, it means you at least get a run.
Yeah,
but having your entire qualifying and your weekend strategy screwed up because you decided not to go out at first, and then you got unlucky through somebody else's crashes. And not actually getting a chance to set a lap. I mean, I think Stroll did set a lap, but it was 46 seconds off pole.
Yeah, it's not great. It's probably not his true pace. I know Stroll it can be a bit hit and miss in quali, but
yeah, I mean that's definitely sort of Deleda kind of pace.
Yeah.
So we've spent way too long talking about Haas. Alfa Romeo. Again, they
just absent.
Yeah,
absent.
They what did they do?
Kimi came 17th, Giovinazzi came 15th.
Are Alpha the disappointment of the year? They must be.
Possibly.
Sometimes they are. Other times it's
they've got 1 point.
Yeah,
actually, maybe this weekend it was Ferrari, but
that's the thing. I think there have been a couple of teams that have had the bad race this weekend, being Ferrari, but Alpha, have constantly had the bad race.
Yeah,
I mean, is this Kimi's last year?
How many times have we said this?
Every year.
I don't see why it has to be honest, because the car's bad, so it's not like. It's not like they've got a good car and Giovinazzi scoring points and he's last. His experience is obviously still good for that team. The only thing I can think is maybe is it Eilert that's their reserve driver?
Yeah.
Maybe Eilert replaces Kimi if they want to carry on with Giovinazzi.
But Ferrari's deal is that they can put one driver in the car, which at the moment is Giovinazzi.
Oh yeah, but I mean I know that's the deal. But if you've got Eilert there, and the team think, well, we'll get better results with these two drivers.
But if they really wanted Eilert in the car, why wouldn't they have done it this year? Why would they have him have a year sat around getting rusty, twiddling his thumbs?
I don't know. I thought it was a real shame for Eilert not getting a go. I don't know why they carry on the Giovinazzi experiment, to be perfectly honest, because
that's the confusion.
He's not done badly. He's not done badly this year, but he's
not done enough to show any sort of progression that he might ever end up in a Ferrari. Whereas
I'd go as far to say is that if you give Mick Schumacher and Tsunoda and Mazepin the room for improvement, because we don't know where they are, I would say he's the worst driver on the grid. If you give them a tip of the hat, I can't think of anybody else that's it underperforms as much as Giovinazzi.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Possibly Latifi, because
maybe Latifi.
What's he doing? But
it's a hard one to call with Latifi because you're right. Russell is massively outperforming the car, but we don't know what that car's performance is.
No.
Oh, we do with Russell.
Think Russell's special. Yeah. We think Russell's a bit special as well.
But we saw Latifi in F2 with Norris and Russell and Albon, possibly with Leclerc as well. I think he would have been there for that year. And he didn't look good until they'd all disappeared. And even then, he finished second to De Vries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Giovinazzi, I don't know. He shows flashes of adequacy.
Yes. Yeah. Every now and then you think he might be making progress, and then he sort of disappears for another 5 races.
Now and again he hits a vein of mediocrity.
Yeah. Ooh, that was one hell of an elbow. Sorry, the French keeper's just tried to kill one of the Portuguese attackers.
Oh, there is like stuff coming out of his mouth.
Teeth, by the looks of things.
Yes.
Hey, you're missing a great cage match here. I mean, this is Mick Foley, Triple H, No Way Out 99.
More action than Alfa Romeo.
Yes.
Right, yeah, we'll go to Williams next. Again, Latifi, 18th, ordinary.
Yeah.
Just Latifi doing Latifi stuff. You know,
Yeah.
it's good. It's good for him. It's good for Williams that he got ahead of the Haas's though, because that puts them ahead of Haas in the constructors again.
That is true. But George Russell getting a Williams to 12th on merit.
Mm-hmm. With no
And do you know what
retirements.
Do you know what the awful thing about that is the fact that there is no retirements. Any other race, usually in Formula One,
You'd
if
get a
he'd have
couple,
got his
wouldn't
car
you?
up there, you'd have had a couple fall out from the top, and maybe he'd have got like up to maybe 8th or something like that.
Yeah.
Because I had this conversation with someone that doesn't really think or gets confused at why we think that there's something special about Russell. Because he keeps going back to the fact that he hasn't scored a point, and Kubica did score points. And you go, well,
Kubica got
he had
lucky in a
more- he
freaky
had-
race.
Yeah, he got lucky in a race, but over the course of seasons and qualifying, George has just been better. So no, it was a real shame. But what a fucking drive, though.
I mean, he says that's his best ever drive for Williams.
Yeah, he does
It's hard
say
to
that
argue.
at the same. Yeah, but at the same time, where it's looking increasingly more rocky for Valtteri Bottas.
Well,
I
yes.
think. Yeah, I think that was a timely interview. That.
And I think a very, very timely performance. Not that Toto needs reminding about his quality.
2 bad races. Is it the summer break after Austria?
No, we've got
Silverstone, I think.
Silverstone and Hungary.
Oh, and Hungary. I forget about Hungary.
Oh right, okay.
The playing
Ages
he's
off,
got
yeah.
4 races there.
ages.
Yeah, we've still got another 4 races to go. I mean, it's another 5 weeks till the summer break.
4 races, yeah, 4 races, and if Bottas continues how he has been doing, he's replaced in the summer. I guarantee it, almost guarantee.
I don't know if he's replaced in the summer, but I think his announcement for being replaced might come in the summer.
No, he can't, because if another couple of laps in that race, and Perez would have had Hamilton. So Perez is coming on form to the point that not only is he messing the strategies up for Mercedes, he's going to be beating Hamilton if Red Bull have got the car to do it. And they can't have this. They can't have Bottas piddling around like 4 seconds off the lead drivers. They've got to do something, or they're winning nothing.
Helmut Marko's been good and sassy after this race. He said Perez is better than Bottas because he's more than just a wingman.
I think he's right, yeah.
All right, I'm sticking my neck out with a bold prediction here.
Oh.
At some point between now and the end of the summer break, Perez gets a 2-year extension announced.
Yeah.
That seems perfectly reasonable, yeah. I mean, Marco seems happy. That's terribly unusual.
I'll stick my neck out.
Oh.
He seems happy, and he hasn't actually sacrificed anyone.
Well, what about this one for sticking the necks out? Because this is what I thought the other day. When we had the hybrid era change, and it didn't work out for Vettel for ages. You know, Vettel is going to be happy to see the end of this era. What if if it doesn't suit Max, and what if it's tyre limited again, like it was in the old groove tyre days? And that, in the winter, £5 on Perez to win the World Championship, not a ridiculous move.
Interesting. And you've got to assume he'll make a better start next year because he'll have been in the team, assuming he's still in the team for next year.
Don't forget he gets his 2-year deal that I've just offered him.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I think the other thing is he seems to be getting his head around the way Red Bull build a car for Verstappen.
Yeah,
And
if he can start driving like Verstappen, then he can drive a car that's built for Verstappen.
Yeah. And it's like we were saying at the beginning of the year, this is the year to see how good Perez is. Like, did we have like a world championship contender just sat around there in a pink car? And almost like knowing he's a decent Formula One driver, but because of McLaren, because he comes with all that Mexican money as well.
Yeah.
Have we discounted him a little bit?
I think so, yeah, because I mean, we've always rated him to make the best out of the situation that he's been in with what was really a massively underfunded Force India Racing Force Point Delta variant. He's always had an underfunded car, and he's outperformed it, as it turns out.
Yeah.
And I always said that he needs time to recover from the nightmare of a year that he had at McLaren, because there's some drivers that would have completely destroyed. And
Heikki Kovalainen.
And to an extent, K-Mag.
Yes. Yeah. I think K-Mag screwed K-Mag.
No, Brett screwed Brett. But yeah, I mean, a bad year at McLaren, and that can be sort of career fucking.
Yeah.
And he's bounced back, and he's bounced back bloody well.
Van Dorn. There's a career fucked by McLaren. Fucking hell. Look at all the hassle we've given Red Bull over the years, and McLaren haven't done a bad job of it.
I mean, you could say to some extent Alonso as well, because it drove him out of F1.
Yes, yeah. I think you're probably right.
Or was that just Honda? But then again, no, it was Honda. It was a partnership. It was 50-50.
Yeah. And then Renault not being sort of on song at the beginning, where they realised, oh shit, it wasn't just the engine all along. So
yeah, to bounce back from that, to end up in your penultimate race with the Silverstone organisation, standing on the top step of the podium for the first time.
Yeah, no, it was a great effort.
Yeah, and then moving to a team with wins under the belt.
I think it's helped him win in a race so early as well. I think in that situation where you're expected to be the wingman as well, it would be, if you got halfway through the season without winning anything, you would start thinking to yourself, oh, am I actually going to get the chance to do something here? Whereas now he can just sort of kind of sit back and do his job.
Well, I don't know, because I mean, after previous meat grinder performances, from basically from Gasly onwards, getting on the podium was what was required of him, because barely anybody else could.
Yeah.
And yeah, he's managed that. So
yes, he has.
The win is a bonus, and that's the next step up the ladder. And it's like, oh, hang on, he's leveled up twice.
Yeah.
So this is why I think we'll be seeing him in Red Bull for a few more years. It's amazing. It's amazing how we got from Williams to Red Bull.
Yeah. It's because of how boring Williams were, apart from Russell's great drive, but there was still nothing to talk about, is there?
Yeah, he did. I don't think he really did. Well, we didn't see that much of it.
No,
the cars were definitely there.
Yes.
Yeah, the TV direction was a little bit lacking. Should we just move on to Ferrari? Because I know Lee is desperate to get this one off his chest about Leclerc
about
in 16th.
Charlie.
Yeah.
Not ideal, is it? Not ideal. To be perfectly honest, I can't even take the piss out of them because I don't know how it happened.
Basically, they said that their tyres were degrading at twice the rate of everybody else.
That's what I thought it was. I thought it was just tyre wear, but I wasn't sure. I thought maybe there'd been a screwed up pit stop or something like that.
No, I mean, they two-stopped him, but also two-stopping won the race, so...
Yeah.
But he was the first of... he was the first of the two-stoppers to stop. Yeah. He was the first of anyone to stop.
I think he was, yeah.
I mean, we saw what damage the circuit can do at tyres on Friday when Carlos had that off. And he was actually down to the canvas on his tyres after he locked up and spun when he went across the red stuff.
Yeah.
And, you know, a couple of lockups there, a little run wide. It's an abrasive circuit to begin with. And then, of course, these extra abrasive zones on the outside. In the runoffs, you know, they're tyre killers. But, no, I mean, Sainz said that he reckoned the tyres were degrading at twice the rate of every other team.
Wow. Fernando said the week before, the week leading up to that race, when he was asked about Ferrari, he said they've been flattered by the street circuits, and as soon as we get to normal circuits again, they're going to fall back down to where they were. And he actually predicted that they'd fall back past McLaren, past AlphaTauri, and past Aston Martin, and past Alpine.
Can he's looking on the money there.
Can I just point out something that I said after Monaco?
Oh,
so we know that Ferrari are going to be quite good in Hungary then.
Maybe,
it's like a street circuit,
yeah.
But a circuit, yeah.
Yeah, Monaco without the walls.
Yeah, no, I prefer Monaco is Hungary without the runoffs.
Doesn't quite have the same prestige to it.
They're beating Germany at the minute. I'm all about Hungary.
Well, there you go.
Not only are they beating Germany, they're knocking Germany out of the Euros.
That is shocker.
Oh, wow.
That is a proper shocker, to be fair.
Do I have to do my just to prove you can write off the Germans joke again? Where I just write off the Germans?
No, too niche, I think, for present.
I've still got it saved on my phone from last time they got knocked out of anything. Yeah, so, I mean, all we saw Ferrari was basically lots of pit stops and lots of backwards.
Yeah, just a really bizarre occasion for them.
Well, the interesting thing I thought was because Sainz looked pretty good, through practice and into qualifying, and even in the ratio finishing ahead of Leclerc, even with all the problems, albeit out of the points. I think if he hasn't done it now, I think Sainz is very close to being on top of Leclerc. And the interesting thing of if Sainz is on top of Leclerc, the interesting thing about it is that Sainz isn't even driving to the best of his ability.
Yeah, he definitely does look like he's, I think, got the measure of Leclerc. Certainly, I think in quality
if you walked
as well.
if you walked into Formula One and you hadn't seen it before, and someone turned around and said, who do you think's Ferrari's lead driver? I think you'd pick Sainz.
Yeah, seems fair.
Yeah, I can't disagree with that. He's also proved that he's doing the he's doing the second best out of everyone that's got a new car this year. Perez is winning that championship by a long way.
Yeah, he is now. But I mean, I would say that Sainz got on it quicker with Ferrari. You know, he was doing better with what he had before Perez was. You know, when Perez was still struggling a little bit, Sainz was closer towards Leclerc. It's just that car's, it's so much better than the Ferrari, isn't it?
I mean, strictly speaking, I think in sort of new driver compared to incumbent driver points wise, I think it would be Vettel, wouldn't it? He's doing the best.
Oh, probably now, yeah. Yeah.
But again, it took
good race.
It took Vettel a while.
Yeah.
You know, we had 2020 model Seb for the first 3 races of the season.
Not a classic.
No, definitely not the best vintage. But now he's happy, and we all like happy Seb.
Yeah, it was good. Another good drive.
I mean, we'll get to Aston Martin in a bit because got Alpine up next. Ocon contract hangover maybe
possibly
in 14th. 3-year deal though. That is
generous, isn't it?
Mega for him.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at what's coming up behind him in the Renault Driver Academy,
yeah, they're pretty well stocked.
You've got to wonder, is Fernando's seat looking a little shaky?
No.
I mean, I would assume that what they've got in the Renault Academy is for when Fernando chooses to step away. I wouldn't have thought they would be looking to... I mean, he's got a deal for next year anyway, I think, hasn't he?
Yeah. One doesn't simply sack Fernando Alonso.
No, you just wait for him to quit.
I don't think that's going to happen. To be fair, well, I really don't think it's going to happen. He's not got a race-winning car, but let's not forget the only frustrated Fernando we ever really saw was Ferrari when they started blaming him for Ferrari's mistakes, which they're still going through. When he carried that fucking team on his back for 4 years?
Yeah, but that's not the only frustrated Fernando we saw. The Fernando at McLaren was frustrated.
With their GP2 engine.
GP2 engine, GP2.
Yeah, but he was right.
Fernando at McLaren the first time round was frustrated because this young bloody kid who's come from nowhere is getting all the attention.
That's fair, but I still believe
we've seen more frustrated Fernandos than we've seen unfrustrated Fernandos in his entire career.
But you didn't see a frustrated Fernando when he went back to Renault before he went to Ferrari. And you didn't see a frustrated Fernando for most of Ferrari, to be perfectly honest. For most of Ferrari, even when stuff was going on, he was pretty fucking diplomatic when he didn't have to be.
Yeah, because there was all the stuff going on that he didn't actually see, like all the stuff that was going on at Renault that he didn't actually see. They broke the fucking rules to keep him unfrustrated.
Well, that's up to them to run the team. That's not him.
I mean, I say they broke the rules.
What I mean is...
At one point, they were under investigation for breaking the... What the hell is that? Oh, it's Asterix and Obelix.
I think...
At one point, they were on the verge of being...
Deal.
At one point, they were on the verge of being accused of breaking the law to keep him unfrustrated.
Well, does that mean that they cheated to keep Charles Leclerc happy?
No, I'm talking about Renault.
No, okay. No, I'm just saying Ferrari though. Like, does that mean they cheated to keep Leclerc happy?
No, Ferrari cheated because Ferrari can be a bunch of dirty cheating cheats.
That's what they
do. As every single team can. Flexi wings for a kickoff. No, I don't think you're going to see that because at least he can compete, and they couldn't compete with McLaren. It was just a car that, if it moved forward, it was slow, and then it exploded. And I think that's the... Don't forget, can you imagine the promises he must have been had to go there and not take a sabbatical or something at that time?
Oh, yeah, we all said it looks like the golden package, doesn't it? McLaren getting back together with Honda. Honda have had a year's worth of extra development without... being stuck with this engine token system. They could turn up on the grid with an absolute rocket. As it turned out, they fitted it backwards.
I wonder what would have happened if Honda would have gone to McLaren without Ron Dennis. I wonder if that Honda partnership would have started with Seidel and what's his name? Forgot his name.
Zach Brown.
Yeah. With the two of them, what would we have seen? Because I still believe that he was a massive issue with the whole situation. Even down to vetoing Sauber getting Honda engines when Sauber wanted to take Honda engines. And let's be perfectly honest, the only reason Red Bull is where it is with that Honda engine is because Red Bull gave them Toro Rosso and said, "Do with what you will."
Yeah, well, I think I know where we'd be if it had been Zach Brown and Seidel instead of Ron Dennis and the little furry white cat that sits on his lap that he strokes for fun. I think we'd have been talking about another Lando and Danny 1-2 this weekend.
I don't think Fernando would have left.
That's the thing. What's the chain then if they don't go that way?
Because what I will point out, and I think Fernando even said this when he'd left, that he said even though it hadn't worked in McLaren, the only engine that was going to beat Mercedes was going to be a Honda.
Well, it's called that, right?
So yeah, that's the thing. I think it's a series of unfortunate events. It's crazy. Things just don't seem to work for certain drivers, do they? I think even Daniel Ricciardo, you could look at, who would have seen Daniel Ricciardo struggling the way he is at McLaren? Who'd have guessed that?
Yeah, he's going through 2019 all over again. with slightly
yeah.
better results than he got in 2019.
Yeah.
Oh, but the worst part is he's got a much tougher teammate.
Yeah, he's not got a Hulkenberg.
Yeah.
He's got a teammate that can get on the podium.
Yeah. He's looking every bit the future world champion right now.
So, Alpine up and down showing at the home race, I'd say.
Yeah. I think it was a good drive from Fernando. They lack race pace, though, don't they? There's definitely a point. There was a point in that race where Alpine started to go backwards. It was just Fernando didn't go backwards quite as far as like Ocon did.
Is the lack of another Renault-powered team, is that hurting Alpine? Because there's, they've only got 2 cars to get the data off.
It can't be helping.
Every other engine supplier has got at least 2 teams.
I don't know. I mean, it depends now with the engine homologation and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know what else can be done to the engines. I don't know what the extra data gets pumped into now. But
I mean, is this a throwback to pre-season testing where they couldn't get the same engine data that the other teams got from running those cars? Because don't forget, you can run, testing is run what you brung.
I still say that the problem Alpine's got is when you look at like the airbox solution they've got for that car, when you get one car which has a massively different solution to everybody else, if it's not winning the world championship, they've got it wrong.
Yeah.
And there just seems to be, and part of me wonders whether that was like a quick fix for something. Whether that was like, look, we can't spend time doing this because we're focusing on 2022. We just do this, so it's almost like a Braun situation, where
I can't remember.
Get it built, get it out.
I can't remember who it was that said it. I think it might have been Ed Straw from the race. But apologies if I'm putting somebody else's words in Ed Straw's mouth. But they said that
which one is that? The big guy, Ed Straw?
I think it is. Yeah.
Yeah, he's ace him. I really like him.
But I think it was him that said the Alpine airbox is the great compromise.
Yeah.
We're not 100% sure about it, but
it's fixing something, but because something was broken.
Yeah, this isn't crap, so we'll go with it.
Yeah.
It's not brilliant, but it's not desperate. Like I said, I think it was him. If it's not, if somebody else can find the source of that quote, drop us a tweet at 3 Legs 4 Wheels and let us know. Mm-hmm. But I definitely saw it from a proper motor racing journalist who I respect.
Yeah.
So it wasn't Joe
Not
Selwood.
one of us lot then.
But not one of us lot. It wasn't Joe Selwood. Right, AlphaTauri. Again, binary time. Gasly in 7th. I mean,
doing Gasly things.
Gasly's great redemption continues.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking of drivers that had 1 year at the team that breaks them. Feel a little sorry for him with Ocon's new contract because, I had him down as an Alpine driver next year.
Gasly's best place is going to be Williams.
It's looking that way. I mean, all right, he's doing the business in AlphaTauri. But what's that going to lead to? Because he's not going to end up in the Red Bull.
Nope. I don't think so.
Max is there for as long as him and Jos want, and I've just given Perez a 2-year deal.
Well, realistically, I think this has thrown Red Bull's performance this year has shaken everything up, hasn't it? Because I don't see Max Verstappen leaving Red Bull now because they seem to have built the best car this year, and the rules haven't even changed. And what's his name? Tsunoda, who was sort of brought in as the great new hope, he doesn't seem to be it, does he?
No, I mean, he had a fantastic start in Bahrain.
Yeah, so did Kevin Magnussen. Good first race, got on the podium.
Yeah.
In Australia.
Yeah, but, first races rather than countries.
Yeah. Yeah, but he had a fantastic first race in Bahrain. The week after, I was on a radio show with our mate Danny O'Brien.
Yeah.
In Ireland, and it was me and Virtual Statman that were guests on his show, and I said I reckon Tsunoda is the real deal, and Sean pulled me up on this one and said, just watch it. You've only got one race to go on. Don't go making bold statements like that until you've got some more evidence. And now I've seen some more evidence of what Tsunoda's being like in his first season. I mentioned it to Sean at the weekend, and basically I got a told you.
Yeah. It's really weird, isn't it? Like I don't quite understand what it is, but there's always been like this theme with Japanese drivers where they look extremely quick, but they crash a lot.
Fast and crashy.
Yeah, what was it? The guy that was brought in to save Tyrrell in the last couple of seasons before BAR, Tora Takagi, he was absolutely amazing in testing in the first couple of practice sessions. Stuck him in the car in qualifying, and you know, have a bricklayer on standby to rebuild the walls he's running into.
Yeah. Takuma Sato as well.
Yeah.
You know, he looked. I still think Sato's might be the most impressive Japanese driver we've had in Formula One. I don't think I'd be wrong.
I mean, in IndyCar, they still call him the animal.
Oh yeah, he'll still have you in IndyCar.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, watching him.
He was being lapped the other week, and he was racing whoever was passing him for lols. I think it might have been Grosjean.
I think it was Grosjean in that Indy Road race.
Wow.
But yeah, I think we've not seen. I mean, Tsunoda's there because of Honda, because he's one of their development drivers, and okay, they put him in the car. Honda are still sort of fairly running the rule a little bit over over the Red Bull teams with the engine supply. And obviously the intellectual property, taking Tsunoda on was going to be a help towards getting the IP for the engines to become Red Bull Powertrains Limited, or what, is that what they're called?
Yes.
But you've got to wonder, if he carries on being this inconsistent, has he got a future in that team?
No.
Not when you've got
not.
someone like Liam Lawson, or who else have they got in F2 this year?
Jan Deruvala,
Yuri
Vips.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that there are other drivers coming through, but we've asked this question before, and Lee, you were the first one to bring it up. What is the point of AlphaTauri? Because it's now, and I think Chris has said it many times as well, it's now got to the point where they're not putting drivers into the Red Bull long term, and Red Bull have gone outside the program for the first time since David Coulthard.
It doesn't work, does it? Because if you get a good team, like let's say, like look at Ferrari for instance, right now, because they're the perfect example, because both of them are quite young. If they can build a decent car that keeps those guys happy, what's the point in being a Ferrari young driver at the moment?
Having a surname that is Schumacher.
Yeah, but even then, I mean, what do you do?
Then who'd you get rid of to get him in the car?
Yeah. It's I don't quite get what the. I get what's in it for Red Bull. You know, they're bringing all this talent through, and we do have to like tip the hat to them to that extent. At least these guys are getting the chances. You know, they're giving people chances to come in, but basically the last two young drivers that came in, they gave a chance in the main car. They just, neither of them could handle it. But I don't know if you've got a driver like Max Verstappen, you can't really. You're breeding number twos, aren't you? Mm. It's not like they're looking for the next Vettel or the next Max Verstappen.
No,
they're looking for the next Rubens Barrichello.
Yeah, the next Felipe Massa.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think the separation between Red Bull and AlphaTauri needs to continue, and there should be a fully fledged team in their own right. But it needs Marco to take that step back and stop dicking about with the driver lineups.
It's not his style.
That's the thing. I mean, we've had one hell freezing over. We're not going to get two. But yeah, Tsunoda started from the pit lane because of a very strange crash and issue with the car. Did you see the way that the rear end was vibrating as he backed it into the wall after he spun?
Yeah, I don't think it was an.
I think
wasn't.
I think it was a suspension failure.
No, that shaking was. It's essentially what you're doing is you're going backwards, but your car's going forwards. That's just force going through the axle. I think. I do. There was nothing wrong with that. He lost the car on the way in. That's all. He was just pushing
it is
too
just
hard
sort
and
of
lost the
an
car.
sort of extreme chatter.
It just looked odd at the time at full speed.
Well, it's odd for anybody to go backwards the way they were facing. If you know what I mean.
It's not what you're looking for as a general rule.
Yeah, but we'll see what he does in the next race. But I don't know. He needs to change it.
It's going to be one of those. Which Tsunoda's going to turn up? Is it going to be the fast? Is it going to be the adequately fast one, or is it going to be the crashy one?
Could be both.
I know, Lee, you won't let me use Yuki or Yuki.
Well,
it was Stephen.
No.
It was Stephen Terra that came up with that one.
I just think that he's in the position now where the pressure's on him, and he seems to be a very emotional young man.
Yeah, I quite enjoy him on the radio, though. He's quite lively.
He wears his heart on his sleeve. And for anyone that's hearing the background purring, Dizzy has joined the chat. Where are we next? Aston Martin. Right, Lance Stroll, 10th place. Now, on the face of it, well, that's what he should be doing. Started 19th.
Yeah, good recovery after disappointing
in a race
Polly.
with no retirements, got up to 10th.
It's a shame we didn't see more of his race, because I know he started on the hard tyre, so some of it would have been strategy, but I think some of it was on track action as well.
Yeah, he was actually managing the tyres pretty well. Yeah, I think Aston Martin did that all round, because Vettel started outside the top 10 on the hard tyres as well, and managed to get up to 9th.
They were the anti-Ferrari. They both started out of the points and both got points.
Yeah, Aston looks like they're coming together.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. And as we've said before, this gives us a happy Vettel, and we like a happy Seb.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I think we saw a decent performance, and I think that is roundabout where they should have finished.
Yeah, lower points, I think, is where we think they are.
I think they're at least in what seems to be a good position to move forward now.
Yeah.
And say this every time, the Silverstone outfit is a second half of the season team. Don't know if it's something to do with the weather or the factory settings or something, but I think we'll see them improve, and I think we'll see more a couple more top 6 finishes out of them before the end of the year.
Yeah, I think you're probably right.
Podiums need shenanigans, but top 6.
Well, they've already got one podium, don't forget.
Yeah.
There were shenanigans.
There were shenanigans, this is very true.
I still think there's a shenanigans race, there's more chance of a McLaren win than a Aston Martin podium.
Yeah. Maybe some weather. We'll talk about that later.
Maybe this weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah. Could happen. Although, well, I mean, you're saying there's more chance of McLaren win than an Aston Martin podium. Well, chances are, if the shenanigans mean that the Mercedes and the Red Bulls are out, then that could actually put an Aston Martin on the podium if they are.
With a winning McLaren, potentially.
Yeah, they are the next fastest team behind McLaren.
McLaren seem to be that team right now. Like Jordan was in... Excuse me, I ate too much pasta, I've got hiccups. The McLaren seem to be that team like Jordan were in 2008, where it feels like just out of nowhere they're going to have a 1-2 somehow. It won't just be a win; it'll be a 1-2.
2008? You mean 98?
98? Sorry, yeah, not 2008. God. Wow. In my timeline, Jordan did much better.
Yeah, there were Force India by then. I think just. Were the Force India?
May have still been. Were they Super Aguri before they?
No,
were
no, they were
India?
Spiker and
Spiker.
Midland. Super Aguri were a new team and then weren't a team.
Yes, I get confused with those two.
Here's one quickly before we move on. Which is the worst team name? Force India or Racing Point? I think it's Force India.
I feel like they're both kind of shit.
Well, the problem is Racing Point was kind of bought as an off-the-shelf company name.
I think they basically took the word racing and then like flicked through a dictionary and then went stop, and that's what they got.
Yeah, I mean, Force India. That came from the workings of Vijay Mallya's head.
Yeah, which is never great, really, is it?
No.
You know, I mean, at one point, apparently there were going to be Kingfisher Racing.
I see that would have made more sense.
Oh yeah, at least there's a title sponsor sort of argument to that. But
they were part of his Kingfisher group, which was an airline and a beer. Yeah, two things which naturally go together.
Just throw some driving into the mix, and there's a party.
But yeah, I don't know which one's worse because they both had the lack of merits. I mean, they called themselves Force India to get sponsorship from Indian companies.
Yeah,
and they got Sahara. And
did they have Tata Steel for a little while as well?
I think they might have done.
Yeah.
So, it worked. It sort of proved its point. And
no, stop it.
Sorry, no pun intended. Wasn't thinking that. It worked. It proved its concept that it's a name designed to attract Indian businesses. Racing Point. I mean, what was the rationale behind that? It was like the point can stand for anything. Like, well, you'd rather get more than one every race, surely. Should we do McLaren?
Yes.
Don't forget, I have got 2 weeks' worth of bad jokes here with not having done a show last week and being 2 days late with this one. Just
only 5 days till the next show.
Just wait till the shunt, that's all I'm saying. Have you got one tonight, by the way?
Sorry?
Have you got a shunt tonight, by the way?
Maybe. We'll see what time we're on later. I'll have to dig it out.
Right, McLaren. 6th for Danny, 5th for Lando. They are the 3rd fastest team on the grid.
Yeah, good day.
Danny seems to be getting more and more to grips with the car.
Yeah.
He was saying he was struggling. He was going to have to change his driving style to suit it more. God knows what he's having to do. But I mean, the worst thing would be if that car doesn't suit late braking, because that is the main part of Danny Rick's driving style.
He sounded like he was having fun again this weekend, didn't he? When he was, I think, did he have a little bit of a skirmish with Alonso quite early on, and possibly Gasly as well?
Yeah, what was it? Woo, eat that, when he passed someone.
There were general sort of wacky Daniel Ricciardo noises on the radio.
And we've not heard a great deal of that this season. But, yeah, I mean, McLaren, what can you say apart from they are now starting to do McLaren things again?
Yeah, I still think Daniel Ricciardo was overpraised for this weekend. There was lots of talk about Daniel Ricciardo being back to normal and that sort of stuff, but, I mean...
I think he's getting there.
He's getting there, but at one point we thought Lando had been just left out in the fucking cold, and I realised it, like, because of tyres and stuff, it might have worked out as an advantage pitting later than it did for Ricciardo. But I still can't help feel that even if you swap those strategies around, Lando still finishes ahead of Ricciardo.
I mean, that's a possibility, but Lando is a lot more familiar with how the car works. It is last year's car with the Mercedes engine chucked in the back.
Yeah, but
to all intents and purposes. But everyone's saying, we've got the Danny Rick of old back. No, we're getting the Danny Rick of old back in gradual stages. He put the car where it deserved to be this week.
Yeah, but he was. I mean, he had to let his teammate through, and his teammate fucking carved through half the grid to get there. That's that's the thing. You can only really compare yourself to your teammate, and yet again, Lando did him
On much fresher tyres, and the strategy worked for him.
No, yeah, but that's what I said. But I say that still ends up the same, whether they swap strategies or not.
No, I don't think it'd work like that because I mean you saw the overall even the straight line speed difference in the
no, but I think he'd been too far down the road. But I think Lando would have been too far down the road for Ricciardo to get back to him with the better tyres. Just over the course of having good tyres, I think Lando would have outperformed it and maybe kept his tyres in a bit better as well.
Now the problem is with France though, it's that unpredictable on the tyres. Nobody knows what the hell's going to happen. You know, could we have seen on Sunday morning both Ferraris were going to end up outside the points because the tyres just had nothing. And I think that's it's one of those I don't know that it's something that may have happened. It's something that may not have happened. Just purely by dint of the randomness of the French road surface. Oh, they has overturned it. It's a goal.
This is bad for me. I have Portugal in work sweepstake.
They're still going to get through if they come third.
Yeah, but they won't like this.
Oh no, they'll get knocked. No, Germany are out at the minute. We're talking Euros again.
Let's not confuse what is visibly in our room that only we can see. That is
true.
But no, this puts Portugal bottom.
Oh dear. Right then. Are we doing the top two teams all at the same time, or are we going to do Merc and Red Bull separate? Because I think we need to talk about Mercedes on their own.
Yeah. We can start and see how it progresses.
See where it goes. Right. We'll start with Bottas. He had opinions. He definitely had opinions about the strategy.
I mean, the strategy didn't work for him, so to that extent, yeah. You can see why he was unhappy with it, but what strategy he could have made work is a different question.
There's an interesting thing about this that if anybody that watches Formula One stuff on YouTube, if you're not watching Pete Windsor's things, it's like really worth it. Like it, even if you see it and it doesn't look the prettiest, Pete Windsor is like as good as he is to talk about Formula One. His video editing skills do not match that, but. If you can get past the my dad's on the internet now sort of thing about it, he pointed out that both Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton would taken much different lines to Bottas to preserve tyres, and all through the weekend Bottas couldn't follow the same racing line as Hamilton was. And because of the lines he was taking, he was putting more load in his tyres and wearing them down faster. You know, so it wasn't the fact that the strategy didn't work for it. Bottas simply couldn't do the same thing. And this is the thing, like him coming across the radio shouting, "I told you it was a two-stop. I told you it was a two-stop." And you go, "Well, listen here, motherfucker. Your teammate's on a one-stop." And he nearly won the race. And if you'd have kept that guy behind you for another half a lap, Lewis wins that Grand Prix.
Yeah, I mean, he didn't even remotely defend against Vettel against Verstappen the second time. I mean, the first time he defended but went off track, and Max had to back up. The second time, it was just like, "Yeah, you've got it. Go on."
I think he let him through.
I think he's been vettled. I think he's already had the word that he's done.
I don't know if he's had the word that he's going to be done, but considering when Perez met Bottas had considerably older tyres again than he had when Max Verstappen did it, and he didn't lock up and let Verstappen through like Perez through. Then there's a little bit of me thinks he didn't care whether Vettel won that race or not.
Verstappen.
Sorry, Verstappen.
It's catching. You've started a thing.
I've set you off.
It is. I was absolutely murrayed all that then, didn't I? Yeah, that's probably nonsense. But when Verstappen got past him, it just seemed a bit easy. Because realistically, at that point, his tyres are fucked anyway. It's not like he's got to try and keep pace up. All he had to do is keep the guy behind him, and he didn't cover the inside. That would have been surely your best option would have been to plant your car in the middle of the track and go through the corner slowly, rather than whatever he was doing.
Yeah, it just seemed, I don't know, it just seemed an odd performance. I mean, the first lap where Max was attacking, Bottas ended up running a little off wide at the chicane, but managed to get it back on and hold the position and not have to give it up. And I just wonder if he took something extra out of the tyres and it took him a couple of laps to come back to him. Because it was the next lap when Verstappen made the pass and he had absolutely nothing. Then Verstappen goes on to make the pass on Hamilton on the straight after getting a much better exit out the corner and getting a lot more straight line speed. And then I think he got him just at the start of the DRS zone as well.
Yeah,
I don't think the DRS had actually been open for all that long because it wasn't even under braking because he was just passed and away and off.
Yeah.
But then Perez passing Bottas, maybe the tyres had come back slightly. Maybe they'd told him, "Calm down, shut the fuck up, and get on with your job."
Maybe, yeah, maybe. I don't know. But it was just very strange.
But it still didn't work.
No, but that's the thing though. It's. Bottas was on the same strategy as Lewis. I do wonder why they didn't bring him in. I know Toto Wolff said it was because they thought Perez might get a penalty, and they thought they might get the podium back. But a little bit of me doesn't believe that, and a little bit of me thinks they just left him hanging out to dry because of the way he was on the radio.
I mean, Toto says he likes the way that Bottas was on the radio. He welcomes sort of that spirit.
Sonoda in Mercedes next year, then.
Possible, yeah.
Yeah, I'm starting to come to the conclusion I think Toto Wolff might be full of shit.
Chris isn't here, but his spirit lives on.
Yes.
Yeah, Chris has gone from Toto's biggest fan to Toto's biggest critic in the space of about 2 months.
Yeah, I think there's less... there's less differences between Toto Wolff and Christian Horner than people might think. I think it's just maybe Toto Wolff is better at being Christian Horner than Christian Horner is.
I don't know. I mean, you've got to go a long way to top the Toto's a windbag and he'll complain about anything.
I thought it was
That's
Toto
pretty
saying Christian was a winged bag. I thought it was that way
is
around.
it? I don't know. They both had that
I
many...
feel like I can hear it in an Austrian accent.
They both had that many jibes at each other recently. It's hard to tell who said what.
He's a windbag who likes to be on TV. Was definitely a Totoism.
Did you see Rosberg speaking to Toto Wolff at the end of the race where he said he didn't think Hamilton was like harsh enough with Vettel.
No, we had a very
Verstappen.
quick departure from the race for the football.
Yeah. But he also brought up, he said, well, now Red Bull have fixed their flexi wing problem. Are you going to fix your flexi wing problem? Because I can't remember if it was the front or the rear wing. He said
it's the front wing from Mercedes that gets all the attention for being too flexible.
Is it?
Yeah.
And he said because he says your rear wing is still flexing more than anybody else. And Toto Wolff turned around and said, "What are you trying to do? Fit us up?" And Christian Horner turned around and said, "No." He said, "We'll just let them wallow it in defeat today. We'll worry about the wing next week."
Excellent.
Whoa.
Well, that sounds fun.
Would have been able to watch that if you weren't Welsh.
Well, there you go. You get what you dealt with.
On to Hamilton. Took advantage of Max's mistake on lap 1. And basically hung on as long as he could until his tyres gave out. Although he started complaining about the tyres on lap 2. That has got to be a new record.
It's up there.
It is very early to be complaining about the tyres.
You know, I don't know what it's code for, but whatever it's code for was happening on lap 2. Because it's not the tyres, I'm sorry.
So I reckon it's wind. It was windy, wasn't it, on Sunday?
Yeah, there was... I mean, the wind was blowing in various directions most of the weekend, and it was fairly strong. You know, you'd see it up, sort of gust up about 15 kilometres an hour at some points, which, you know, it's not much when you're going out for a walk, but when you're in a very sensitively aero-tuned F1 car, you know, that's the equivalent of walking behind a jumbo jet engine. And we all remember that episode of Top Gear where they used a caravan to demonstrate. Yeah, I don't know. It could have been. It was it just struck me as remarkably early to say that it was having trouble, and it was I think it was the rears this time because the fronts were okay. You know, we need the Lewis Hamilton translation.
Yeah, tailwind, headwind for front and rear tyre. That's what I'm gonna throw it out there.
That could be. Right, on to Red Bull. Perez, yeah, he's got to grips with the car. You know, winning the third in his last 2 races.
Looking good.
The signs are looking positive. It's the fastest car. It's looking like the fastest car on the grid. And
yeah, and who would have thought it there? In France, which has been such a Mercedes circuit.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Yeah, definitely, and proof again that Perez is great on tyres because I mean he did that on one stop.
Mm-hmm.
He was late stopping, wasn't he? Of the sort of the front runners, he stayed out a bit longer.
Yeah, just purely by dint of being able to.
Yeah,
because I think he was actually being. I think there was only about a 3 or 4 second gap between him and Hamilton when they brought him in. That had come down from about 25 seconds. And again, it's just, yeah, Perez. I'm trying to find another description other than the tyre whisperer, but it's the best
well,
word.
That's
he's very
him and
delicate.
Norris are the only two that made that work, aren't they?
Yeah.
You know, he's definitely showing that Red Bull have made the right move and have solved their number 2 problem. Mm-hmm. Although buggers up the rest of the operation. Like I've said before, I expect a 2-year contract in the summer. I wouldn't be surprised in the slightest. And then we get on to Max. Made up for a mistake on turn 1.5.
Yeah, I mean, a slow start is pretty much the only sort of complaint you can have, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which I missed because I was still at work.
Red Bull strategised it perfectly with the undercut. Mm-hmm. I mean, you heard how shocked Hamilton was when he came out the pits in net second.
Well, that was all Bottas's fault, wasn't it, for coming in when he came in?
Yeah.
Because, Red Bull, essentially, they weren't undercutting Hamilton, they were covering Bottas.
And then it just turned in Red Bull's complete favour. But really, after the second corner on lap 1, didn't put a foot wrong.
No.
And had a number 2 driver doing the exact right things with him. Certainly not the perfect performance, but you know what is. But he did enough to win and win comfortably.
Mm-hmm. It's how you win titles. Not perfect, but gets the job done.
Yeah, I mean, what's it the adage in NFL? Offense wins games, defense wins titles. That's going back to an old podcast.
Yes,
but apparently it is a thing.
Yeah.
Maybe our new Twitter follower, ex-NFL player Will Blackman, will care to attest this. He started following us at the weekend. Right, what does that leave us with? Rock stars and wankers.
Ooh.
Rock stars, Red Bull in general, drivers and strategists.
Yes.
Lando.
Yeah. I'm going
Russell.
I'm going Russell, Lance Stroll.
Yeah, race day rock star for Lance Stroll.
Had his Saturday compromised and rock starred his way out of it. I fear this may be a long list. Wankers. James Vowles, because he admitted it was all down to him.
Yeah, Mercedes strategy, general all-round disaster. I mean, Bottas kinda, but also made the race very interesting. So,
Yeah.
bit of both, maybe.
It's like a kind of Gene Simmons interview, a rock star that is a wanker.
Yes.
Any other nominations? Actually, I'm going to go for another rock star. The Paul Ricard circuit for once.
Yes. With their crazy gorilla trophies and...
Yeah, they are still weird as hell.
True to character, Red Bull did all their team photos next to the giant blue polar bear thing. Just for the crazy.
Of course. Any other thoughts?
No, I don't think so. This is the thing with there not being any crashes or anything. You don't really have anyone to be too wankery about.
I mean, do we put Tsunoda in the wanker category for buggering up qualifying on Saturday? Again?
No, because it wasn't him. It was Schumacher,
Yeah.
wasn't it, that buggered up qualifying? Or just him generally?
Well, Tsunoda knackered it up in Baku, and he went off.
But it was Schumacher who
He did
shat
cause
on
a
Stroll.
red flag.
He
Yeah.
did.
Yeah,
Strictly
he did
speaking,
cause
again, I
a
missed
red
that
flag.
because I got stuck at work.
Yeah.
But yeah, Schumacher probably was more the quali wanker than Tsunoda.
Yeah, people who can't complete qualifying laps, they just fall
Yeah,
into the wanker
quali
category in
wankers.
general. Right, that is about a race review, I would say.
Yeah. Oh, also, wanker for the weather, because at one point it did look like it was going to be wet on Sunday, and it wasn't. Okay, we still got quite a good race, but...
It was wet during the start of the F3, then it dried out. And the F3 race was the F1 race that we should have had Saturday afternoon. It was that dull.
Yes.
I wonder if that's what caused the tyres to wear so much. Was the...
Because it was a clean track.
Overnight rain and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just
not a bad
that
shout.
they didn't account for.
Yeah, track
wasn't
had rubbered
rubbered
in
in.
and then just got sort of completely cleaned up.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah, good call. Right.
You sounded surprised that Lee had made a good call.
Shouldn't be surprised by now. Let's be honest.
24 stopped clocks, that's all I'm saying.
Saying that maybe we should start calling me the Oracle.
You're about as up to date as Oracle used to be. Yeah, it turned into teletext. The internet on televisions before you got the internet on your TV. Right.
I remember fond days of playing Bamboozled when I was a child.
Bamboozle on teletext was fucking
Quality quiz. If you don't know what it is, look it up on the internet.
I think you can still get Bamboozle t-shirts for sort of retro niche value.
Can you?
Yeah.
Oh, right. I'll have a look for one of them. Really confuse everyone at work. I went to work the other week in a t-shirt with a picture of the test card on, and everyone was like, "What the hell's that?" Like me proving how sad I am. Should we do some news?
Why not?
Right.
Let's.
Yas Marina has a new layout, and apparently it's going to be easier to overtake.
Yeah, I think this is from this year, isn't it? I think it has been ratified for this year. People have voted.
Yes. Yep, they're getting rid of the chicane before the hairpin.
It's one of those, I never think of Abu Dhabi as a terrible race, but it's not a classic either, so... more raciness, why not?
It's usually a little bit paradey, which is the problem.
It's calendar position as well does that for it, doesn't it? People can't be asked at that time of the year if everything's been settled. It's like, what are you doing?
Yeah. Yeah, oh, great, we'll sit down and watch this exciting battle for 7th. I mean, we did get to see Hulkenberg hanging like a cow.
Hulkenberg got married last week.
Oh,
Just
right.
as a random aside of news.
Fair enough. Congratulations to Mr. and Mrs. Hulkenberg. He won Le Mans, you know.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, so apparently we're gonna be seeing much better racing at Abu Dhabi this year, which to be honest would be nice.
I mean, it worked for Bahrain, didn't it? Trying a different configuration for lols, so...
I still want to see another race on the Squoval. I know F1 doesn't want circuits where the lap time's under a minute because
Why? It was
it's
fun.
not what they do, but that was, you know, it looked like a bloody good circuit. What else have we got? Robert Kubica will be back in Alfa Romeo testing.
Yeah, so this is, I think, at Austria as opposed to Styria. I think it's going to be Kubica and Eilert, or maybe one is doing one is doing the other. I can't remember. I read the story earlier.
You'd think on a Friday they'd want one of the race drivers in the car.
You would.
Because, of course, it's Styria first, then Austria. You've got to love the calendar.
For reasons. Yes.
Now, Kubica in testing has proved to be a little bit quicker than Giovinazzi.
Which isn't great luck for Giovinazzi, really, is it?
You got to hand it.
No, don't go.
I only started it because Lee didn't. But yeah, Kubica has been a little bit more rapid, and he was on decent pace. Obviously, it's the usual FP1 thing. You don't know what program they're running. You know, is it brand new tyres and qualifying fuel? So you can't tell. But he still seems to think that his F1 dream isn't over.
I mean, what is the F1 dream for him these days? I mean, I feel like it probably is.
That's the thing. You know, he's got DTM, which this year is GT3 cars. They're not even using the pretense of using touring car shaped things anymore. They've just gone full FIA GT3 spec. So I don't know, but it'll be interesting to see what Callum Eilert can do.
Yeah, I'm pleased he's getting a run out as well, because
it's like you say, Lee, he's just been sat around getting rusty.
Yeah, I don't think he's the I think he possibly could be doing a better job than certainly a Giovinazzi.
But it'll be good to see what kind of performances they put in. And of course, we're sort of 1/3 of the way into a triple header now, aren't we? So we have Styria predictions to make.
Yes, this should be fun. Because we didn't do France predictions.
We didn't. We sort of lapsed for a week. Like I said, I just want to really apologise for missing last week's show and being late this week. It's this real life thing. I don't know about anybody else, but it's bloody pain in the arse, isn't it?
It's after a year of not doing real life. It's difficult to get back into it, and it's...
Yeah.
It all comes to land on you at once.
Yeah.
So, predictions for Styria.
The background noises you're hearing, by the way, are a cat chewing a cardboard box.
It's not that we don't feed him, he just likes to chew up and spit out cardboard. Right, anyone want to throw a prediction out?
Right. So we should say, first of all, we're thinking there's going to be shitty weather, aren't we? Particularly Friday and Sunday looking very questionable. So
Which means there'll be glorious sunshine.
Of
Formula 1
course.
does this to us all the time.
It does. It's ridiculous.
Piss it down on the
False
podium.
sense of security.
Wet Daleks.
Do I want to go for some kind of shithouse podium, though? I think I'm going to go Perez win. Norris second. Hamilton third.
Ooh, wow.
Don't know what I think's happening to make that happening, but I'm going to go with it.
Right.
I want to watch that race.
Yeah, it's not a prediction, it's a wish list.
Right. Norris got his first podium in Austria.
Correct.
So Norris, good in Austria. McLaren, good car everywhere, it would appear. And I think that when you look at how that car is, I think it's going to be dead good in the wet. So I go Lando Norris wins. Oh no, it's only if it rains. I don't think it's going to rain. Side note for future Lee. If it's
buy
rained,
another clock and stop it.
A barometer.
I'm just saying, if it rained, Lando Norris won the Grand Prix. And I probably put a $5 on it, so well done, Lee.
Are we making a podcast or a choose-your-own-adventure book?
Yeah.
If it rained, press fast-forward 10 minutes.
You have reached the cave. I don't think it's going to rain though, and I think it's going to be a Red Bull 1-2 with Lewis Hamilton third, and it'll be Verstappen, Perez. And do you know what the shitty thing is? I think the same thing's going to happen for both races.
Oh.
And Lewis Hamilton is going to start looking fucking shaky on this championship by the end of the.
So are you getting your
Austrian
prediction
experience.
for Austria in now? Are you going exact same podium, Styria and Austria?
I mean, I'm not gonna lock it in because there's no.
So
real
if you say
reason to
if
do
you say
that.
3 entirely different drivers next week, that's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, fine.
But I think it's going to be a 1-2, and Hamilton bringing up the rear.
I am gonna go for the same order that we've just seen this week. I think it's going to be a Verstappen win because there's the orange stand.
I was going to say, what's the deal on fans of the Crazy Dutch in?
I think they're letting the Crazy Dutch in, so there's going to be the big orange stand.
Fair.
And I reckon Hamilton second and Perez third. So I think we'll see a repeat of France. I think the circuit suits Red Bull, but you can't rule out the fact that Hamilton is a fucking amazing driver. You know, I think he would be getting 12th in a Williams if he was in that car.
Yeah.
If you want to do your own predictions, go to the website, 3legs4wheels.com, go to the games section and click on the 2021 Prediction League. Get to predict your top 3, pole position, fastest lap, how many non-classified, so DNFs and DNSs, and will there be a safety car or not? We've not had a safety car for a while.
What, since Baku?
Well, apart from Baku. We didn't get a safety car in France.
Kind of all went off in Baku.
And we didn't get a safety car in Monaco.
Yeah, that was a shocker.
Yeah, 2 races where you'd expect, but then again, you expect a safety car at any point. Talking of the safety car and Burnt Mylander, I joined a new band this week, and it just so happens that our lead guitarist
It's Burnt Mylander.
isn't Burnt Mylander, but had driver coaching from Burnt Mylander around the Nordschleife, and he's done
Nice.
300 laps of it in his Mark V Golf. Which is completely tricked out. He's got full.
I was just going to say he's a particularly hard up man, is he?
Well, yeah, because he spent all of it on the innards rather than the outwards.
Oh right.
I he said something like he spent $8,000 on the suspension alone. And he's had coaching from Burnt Mylander, who also christened the car the atomic vacuum cleaner, because that's what it sounded like when he was running down the end straight when the turbo had fully kicked in. So yes, we do have a new
There
Burnt
we
Mylander
go.
story. Right, shunting time. Get trolling. Do you want me to hit pause until you find it, or do we just fill again as usual?
Nah, we can fill.
We'll just talk amongst ourselves, it's fine.
I found it ages ago.
You were just enjoying doing a little sing-song.
This one was sent in by Bailey on Twitter. I take it that Bailey from WWE is just a massive Formula One fan, but there you go.
Oh, I thought on Twitter was his surname.
I've no idea. It's just that's all it says.
Bailey
It
on
just
Twitter.
Says Bailey. Just says Bailey.
Just Bailey.
I was born
Yay.
on January the 16th, 1935.
This is very specific.
That is very, very specific. They had a birthday 2 days after mine.
There you go.
Not that they were
dropped
born 2 days after me.
I dropped out of school in my teenage years to become a mechanic and focus on my racing career.
Okay.
I've driven 11 different disciplines of motorsport within my lifetime.
Oh, gets around a bit.
That's prolific.
My maths is off.
Carslag.
How old would this person be in
19th
the event that they are still alive?
1936, did you say? So they'd be 85.
Wow.
If they were still alive. I think we're looking at one of the greats.
We're looking at John Surtees.
It could be Surtees. It could be Mike Hawthorne. It could be Jim Clark.
Yeah.
All round about the
Potential.
same age. Possibly Sir Sterling.
Excuse me.
Possible.
But I just think with that age and 11 different disciplines, I think we're looking at one of the all-time greats.
It's either going to be all-time great or total journeyman who never found the niche.
Or somebody we've never heard of.
Yeah.
You know, I am Clive Watkins. I was number 4 driver for Matra in 1967.
Is that your guess?
Oh shit! Do we need a guess on that?
We're 3 clues in. This is why we're doing names.
First answers only.
We'll go with yours. We'll go with Surtees.
The Surtees?
Go with Surtees.
Okay.
Although brief, I drove in 3 Formula One races in my career.
Right, not one of the all-time greats, probably.
Oh, I think I've got an idea, but keep going.
I won the 24-hour of Le Mans with Dan Gurney, the Indy 500, and the US AC Championship in 1967.
Okay. Yeah.
I know who won it with Dan Gurney, and I can't feckin' remember.
But just as an aside, we were doing the when we did the Majors 24-hour of Le Mans the other week. We wanted to do what somebody suggested: ring Lee and get him to do an intro video with what he calls the race, just to put out on Twitch. Where you calling it Le Mans all the way through.
Yeah. Do you know the funny thing? I don't even know why I say that. I really don't know. I don't get it. I know it's not it, but then as soon as I read it or think about it, it's what comes out. It's really.
I have that with an entirely different word. I have that with endoscopy. I can say it perfectly fine until I look at it on a piece of paper, at which point it becomes all kinds of weird shit.
Well, it's a scope that goes up your end, so it's an endoscopy.
And I think I do say endoscopy if I'm looking at it.
It's you read it, but instead of saying the proper word, you go ass camera.
Yeah.
You've got one more before a guess, haven't you?
Yes, we have. I think that was number 5, wasn't it?
A former F1 driver who was known for his aggressive driving style drove for my team in Indy cars for 4 seasons.
Is it like a Dale Coyne or someone of this ilk?
Yeah, or Roger Penske.
Possible.
Yeah. Should we go with Penske because you had the last one?
Yeah,
I'll
go
take
on
this
then.
one. Yeah.
Go
Okay,
on.
we'll go Roger Penske on this.
This guy's absolutely fucking smashed the Triple Crown out of the park. I'm the only person to win the Indy 500, the Daytona 500, the 24 hours of Daytona, the 24 hours of Le Mans, and the 12 hours of Sebring.
That's hellishly
That's a heck
good.
of a palmarès.
He is well good at putting a shift in, isn't he?
Is it Hulkenberg?
Next clue, I've just got married.
Yeah. The next clue would be, I am not a sprinter.
Wow, that's
There is a collection.
bloody impressive. Yeah, what's up next?
I'm the last living driver to participate in the race in the races of 2 worlds. Don't know what that is.
No.
I mean, is he an Avenger? Which was held in 1958 at Monza on the banked oval track.
Is that going to be like F1 and whatever the feck IndyCar was called at the time?
He also hasn't given us enough clues.
Oh, for feck's sake. So no spaffing.
No.
Christ.
Well, Roger Penske's definitely still alive.
Yes.
I don't know if Dale Coyne is.
He is, but he keeps getting into fights with like his bumblebees and stuff.
Oh, he does, doesn't he?
He's had many a near-death incident on a ranch.
Do you need a guess here or?
Hang on a second. Let me. I'm trying to find you clues. I'm trying to do this.
Are you trying to write a clue? This could be.
I'm trying to find something that might be fucking useful for you. Go easy on me. I've won loads of stuff.
Cool.
Well, yes.
Yeah, we've established this already.
I was named one of NASCAR's 50 greatest drivers.
Ooh.
I was inducted into the Motorsport Hall of Fame of America in 1989.
Right. Don't think Penske ever drove NASCAR. I don't know about Dale Coyne.
Dale Coyne did NASCAR.
The only other sort of classic NASCAR driver I can remember from any other era was Richard Petty, but
I do not know of him.
Don't know if he's still alive. I think could well be Dale Coyne.
I don't have anything more intelligent to offer.
In Formula One, I drove for Kuzma.
If you say so.
K-U-Z-M-A.
That's what it sounds like.
That's a good Scrabble score, that.
Craft.
Curtis Craft.
Yep.
Those well-known teams that probably just rocked up to one race and crashed and couldn't afford to race again or something.
Curtis Craft sounds like a Kraftwerk tribute act.
I reckon, go with Dale Coyne.
Yeah, I don't think it is, but I don't have anything better to offer.
Ask the question.
Are you Dale Coyne?
I am AJ Foyt.
Oh, the other one.
I don't believe it. I've been using AJ Foyt as a bloody standby answer for years since they started, and we
What about AJ Foyt?
We finally get him, and I get it, and I miss it completely.
Do you know what? It might even be AJ Foyt who keeps getting attacked by bumblebees. I might have actually confused Dale Coyne and AJ Foyt there, and just got the wrong name.
Sorry, out Bailey, that was a bloody good one. How do you send in a shunt?
You can send me a PM on Twitter and Instagram, and I am at a total shunt.
And if you want to send anything in for the reserve list, because as Chris has proved tonight, we can't all make it for every show at the minute, you can email 3legs4wheels@gmail.com, where I will pick it up. You can also get hold of us on the socials at 3legs4wheels on Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. And obviously the website is 3legs4wheels.com. And if you want to help us out, you can subscribe to our Patreon, where you'd normally get the show a little bit early when we record it on a Monday, which should happen more regularly from next week, by going to patreon.com/3legs4wheels.
It fucking is AJ Foyt that has killer bees on his ranch.
If it wasn't a giveaway for the total shunt, that would have been the title of tonight's show. Where was I? Individually on Twitter, you can get us at
Sean Cowper.
Chris is at Flood21, and I am at Pablo100. Managed to get through that with a minimum of killer bees. Right, we're going to go now and try not to eat too much honey, because they only get upset. We'll be back on time next week with a review of Styria and a preview of Austria, because they are completely different races. Honest, aren't they?
Depends on the weather.
Maybe.
That is true. Stay safe, and we'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ciao.